Really what I wanted to talk, went through a lot of things and, as the head coach, it's a little different than being the coordinator and being the offensive line coach. But, one thing I take a lot of pride in is that I come from an offensive line background, and then got the chance to become an offensive coordinator at a great university, great place. And now, being the offensive line coach and being the offensive coordinator, that's something that not a lot of guys get the opportunity to take that chance and be a head coach. And I know Coach Andy Reid got on here, who's one of the best to ever do it, one of the best coaches ever in football, period. Talked, I believe, yesterday, and I got a chance to talk to him when I accepted the job. So, one thing he just said to me was just be myself. And, Coach Harbaugh told me the same thing, and that's what I plan to do. But really, I wanted to talk about the transition from being a coach and assistant coach to being the head coach and the things that change, and then talk a little football too. As the head coach, you don't do that as much now. You're more of a CEO of an organization, and talk about building a two-back run game, and marrying that to things to help you, in the coordinator world. And I think the cool thing about being an offensive line coach, you get to coach the most guys on the field. So, I think sometimes you get put in this box. So, regardless of who's watching, who's on here, I'm always for offensive line coaches getting a chance to be the coordinator and call plays. And, as an O-line coach, I'd say to young guys, that are in the business and you're off the line coach, don't just get stuck in the box of I only want to do the run game and protection. Venture out, learn the passing game, learn how it all ties together, learn what the quarterbacks are doing, the receivers are doing, and put that in your toolbox to help you coach the O-line. I got my start as a tight end coach, and I think that really helped me build my knowledge of the game. And I don't know it all by any means, and I continue to learn every day. Once you stop learning, there's a problem. So I think you got to continue to learn every day. But I think a lot of things I did learn were, helped me when I was a tight end coach. So really just start out with kind of my transition. So in 2009 to 2011, I was a GA Louisville, became the tight end coach full time for 2 seasons. There, Coach Charlie Strong was the head coach. He went to Texas. I was not, I wasn't allowed to go at that time to Texas. So I ended up at Central Michigan. It was a blessing. So 2014 to 17 season, I was at Central Michigan for 4 years, and now then got to Michigan in 18. I was the tight end coach through 20, and then Coach Harbaugh gave me the opportunity to be the offensive line coach in 21. Became the offensive coordinator, O line coach, co-OC in 22, and then full-time OC in 23, and the head coach here in 24. And seasons document of what we did the past 3 years, and very blessed and happy to be a part of what we did. I think really the things that are most important to me are the players. And you go through so many adverse times, so many times, and so many things with the players. I think that the biggest piece of this as a coach is you got to figure out how each player learns, each player clicks, each player is different. And just because you're an O-line coach doesn't mean you got to yell, don't mean you got to scream and do different things. I think some guys just learn differently. So you have to figure out the most important piece of coaching is learning how to coach individuals. And, from an on the off the field perspective, for me, I took a huge part in mentoring each player and getting to know them, not just as a player, but as a person. I think that's more important than anything. So you got to learn to, get to know these guys as people. And then, off the field, obviously recruiting the offensive line was a huge piece of what I did. On the field, player development is huge. Coaching five positions, sometimes six is what we do. We like to have five, six, sometimes seven offensive linemen on the field at the same time. So you're coaching that position at a premium. And my job on the field as just the O-line coach was to create a unit of five that looks as one, and film breakdown to the offensive line, the tight ends, the running backs, creating that run game and protection plan was a huge part of what I did as just the offensive line coach. And that your responsibilities grow. But what I tried to do when I was the O-line coach was not only be a part of the run game and the protection plans, but be a part of the passing game and try to figure out ways that we can manipulate defenses, coverages, to continue the knowledge of the passing game stuff because you can't keep putting yourself in a box.